If you're wondering how to start a low-carb keto diet in 2026, this is your complete beginner's guide. I'll share my simple method to start a clean ketogenic diet correctly, as well as give you a lot of insights that will help you follow keto with confidence. I'm Greta, a low-carb keto nutritionist and holistic health coach, and I've been following a low-carb, high-fat, moderate-protein ketogenic diet for around 10 years. Low-carb keto diet is my main way of eating. I don't track calories or macros. I don't overcomplicate things. I simply focus on eating keto-approved natural whole foods. I combine the principles of keto and functional medicine to get the best health outcomes. So if you're interested in health, longevity, or biohacking, this is the approach to follow. I know firsthand how to make keto simple, exciting, sustainable, and effective long-term. And I would like to share it with you, as I know so many people teach it the wrong way. There are many versions of the keto diet, and some will leave you nutrient depleted and imbalanced in the long run. It can also give you the impression that it's unsustainable. Just imagine tracking your calories and macros forever. It sounds terrible to me. There's simply no other animal on this planet who does that. So it's important to focus on nutrient density and know what you're doing, so that the low-carb keto diet would become intuitive. And if you have any concerns about the safety of the low-carb, high-fat ketogenic diet, things like high LDL cholesterol, saturated fat, ketoacidosis, or just want to learn more about the benefits for insulin resistance, weight loss, or longevity, you should check out my other video where I go over studies. In general, keto is the best diet for insulin resistance, weight loss, type 2 diabetes, epilepsy, PCOS, cancer, mental health issues, and even longevity. It improves satiety, mental clarity, and gives you more energy. Even some athletes use it to tap into this superior state, as carbs do have a lot of limitations. The benefits are very well documented in the scientific literature. But it's important to know that not all keto diets are created equal. If you follow the dirty processed version, ordering low-carb takeaways irregularly, eating processed packaged low-carb foods, ignoring food quality, fully eliminating 100% of plant foods, you'll not experience the full health benefits of keto. Remember, food is information. Food is medicine. It controls gene expression. Each bite of food either feeds or fights diseases. You will get some benefits just by reducing carbs, like reduced insulin, lower triglycerides. But definitely eating a plate full of grilled bacon won't give you the same health benefits as eating this, for example. When it comes to keto, some people still only focus on calories and macros, but forget the quality. And food quality is key. We now have studies. Those who eat a lot of processed and ultra-processed foods get increased risk of most chronic diseases. Please don't be one of those people. But if you commit to a clean keto diet, rich in whole nutrient-dense foods, variety of nutrients, taking care of your microbiome, you'll experience long-term results and a level of health that most people think is impossible. In this video, I'll teach you exactly how to start clean keto diet the right way, so that you could turn it into a lifestyle, not just another short-term diet, where you lose weight or get diabetes remission, but then go back to eating high-carb junk, and all the benefits are gone. We don't want that. So let's start with macros. A typical clean keto macro split would be around 75% fat, 20% protein, and 5% carbs. Some days you might eat a bit more protein, like a huge steak, or go up to 10% carbs. Maybe you ate too many veggies or a few extra berries. And that's okay. Don't overcomplicate things. It's not black and white. Look at the overall net effect on your body. If you left ketosis for 1 hour after the meal, so what? Just go on a walk or take some MCT oil. You'll be fine. It gets converted into ketones instantly and helps you stay in ketosis. Some people find that they do well with 60 or 50 grams of net carbs a day. I'm one of those people. Net carbs are total carbohydrates minus fiber. In the UK, carb labels already reflect this, while in the US, you need to subtract the fiber. Some people believe they need to go as low as 20 or even 10 grams of total carbs per day to get any results with keto. Usually it's those with more severe insulin resistance or a history of aggressive low-calorie dieting. But for improving insulin sensitivity, I've noticed that getting enough vegetables is really important. Since most people are insulin resistant, adequate vitamins and minerals are essential for reversing insulin resistance and addressing nutrient deficiencies that come with it. Also, let's say you did eat too much veggies or berries. You're still low carb, which has amazing health benefits. And if you eat something really high in carbs, you might get into trouble, as you will need to readapt to keto. But small healthy extras like veggies or berries, your body will not mind. These will have overall positive effects on the body. Fiber does not significantly affect blood glucose or insulin, which is why it isn't counted towards your daily net carbs. Having more flexibility and variety on a daily basis makes it more sustainable. Not being so strict and so perfect that you need to cheat all the time. Some people fully eliminate berries, nuts, dairy, or veggies. Some people only eat meat and eggs. But if you look from a variety perspective, sustainability perspective, longevity, disease prevention, these extra foods are simply worth it. Oh, and if you get bloated and have a lot of food intolerances, I highly recommend getting tested to figure out your exact triggers instead of eliminating 100% of plant foods. I did a comprehensive food and drink intolerance test from Check My Body Health, and it was really useful. I can't tolerate cow's dairy, but I'm fine with sheep's or goat's dairy. I didn't even eliminate all of the foods from my intolerance list, as I had way too many. But just removing these in red that caused me symptoms was enough to stop any bloating. For those who are against veggies, you also might be lacking stomach acid, as most people get it when they're older. You would benefit from taking apple cider vinegar with water, or taking digestive enzymes to help your body digest different foods. In some cases, maybe you can't tolerate any raw veggies. Stick with cooked ones. Also, about antinutrients. I used to do kale and spinach smoothies on keto daily. I no longer do that. These are very high in oxalates and other antinutrients, and it can cause health issues in oxalate-sensitive people. I was adding lemon juice that prevents stone buildup. Anyways, now I believe that there's no need to stuff yourself with too many veggies. It's not even natural. But on the other hand, if you start blindly removing all foods that contain lectins or oxalates, you're missing out. When looking at different foods, look at the nutrients, all the vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, fiber, and how it will affect your glucose and insulin, inflammation. Then look at antinutrients and think, is this food worth it? I've seen many people over the years stressing too much. Oh my God, you ate a tomato, you leave keto. And that's complete nonsense. Really? 3 grams of net carbs per 100 grams will make me leave keto? Or this food is full of oxalates or lectins, don't eat it. When you look at long-term research on foods like tomatoes, the evidence consistently shows reduced LDL oxidation and a lower risk of heart disease and stroke. We need to find balance between nutrient density, variety, health diverse microbiome, and therapeutic levels of ketones. And if you don't tolerate something, there are always alternatives. They say keto can only be done with a medical supervision. Really? I would say eating carbs should be done with a medical supervision. It carries way higher health risks. All the glucose and insulin spikes you get from carbs, that needs a medical supervision. I work with type 2 diabetics, people with epilepsy, people who just want to get healthier or lose excess weight. You can always start with a qualified nutritionist or a doctor to get help if you get stuck, or if you take medications that will have to be lowered because keto gets to the root cause. But for most people, it's not rocket science. Keto can also be personalized for each health condition to include the best medicinal foods and supplements. But for now, let's go over the simple rules and examples to make keto a long-term sustainable lifestyle. Here's what your plate should look like. Load up on non-starchy vegetables you enjoy. Include a generous serving of meat, fish, or eggs. And don't fear fat. Add butter or olive oil to your veggies. Have some cheese. When preparing your meals, think about your nutritional needs. I know most people forget this crucial step and just eat for the sake of getting full or eating what they like. I see people loading up their plates full of pasta and a small amount of cheese. Like, are you joking? Where's your protein? Is it gluten? Do you want to be made of gluten? That's like the worst quality protein you can eat. Foods like meat, fish, and eggs are your highest quality, most complete protein sources, compatible with the human body. Protein from beans, way lower quality. Protein from veggies, forget about it. You need a complete essential amino acid profile in the correct ratios, along with the ability to digest and absorb the protein. You need an adequate amount of protein based on your body weight. Minimum requirements are 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. Optimal for most adults is 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight. Think ribeye steak, full-fat beef mince, beef burgers, pork chops, pasture-raised eggs, wild fish, and choose minimally processed whole food sources. Think ground beef or whole cuts of meat, rather than sausages filled with additives, starches, sugar, and MSG. When possible, go for grass-fed, organic, or wild. Farm-raised, grain-fed options are less ideal. With fish, wild is best. If wild-caught salmon isn't your budget, try sardines, anchovies, or mackerel. These are very nutritious and are wild. Cod and haddock are also great. Get the highest quality animal products you can afford. To increase your protein, add foods like Greek yogurt or full-fat kefir, without sugar of course, and cheese. Add extra virgin olive oil or grass-fed butter to your veggies. It's anti-inflammatory, heart healthy, and it keeps you full. And don't forget healthy extras like nuts, olives, avocados, and cheese. A2 dairy is ideal. It's easier to digest and not inflammatory. You want your meals to be rich in protein, fat, and fiber. This keeps you full, satisfied, and energized while delivering the full benefits of a ketogenic lifestyle. You should eat 1 to 3 times a day, depending on how hungry you are and what are your goals. You can include some intermittent fasting if you're trying to lose weight. Here are some great clean keto food options that you can eat daily. Best keto fats, grass-fed butter, extra virgin coconut oil. These are great for cooking. Extra virgin olive oil and avocado oil. Avoid inflammatory oils like margarine and processed vegetable oils. Best protein sources: full-fat beef, pork, lamb, chicken with the skin, wild fish, pasture-raised eggs, and cheese. You can have some occasional tempeh if you want to. Best keto-friendly berries: raspberries, blackberries, strawberries, blueberries, and currants. And blueberries are a bit higher in carbs, but still okay. Best nuts are walnuts, pecans, macadamia nuts, hazelnuts, and brazil nuts. while almonds, cashews, and peanuts are okay, but not ideal. You can have some peanut or almond butter sometimes, and you can make some desserts or snacks with these. Now, the best keto vegetables. Some of them are classified as fruits, but to me, these are veggies. Broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, bell peppers, zucchini or courgette, tomatoes, green beans, arugula or rocket, and of course, avocados. You can also have onions, garlic, carrots, pumpkin, and butternut squash, but in smaller amounts, as they're higher in carbs. For example, if I ever make a beef stew, I will definitely add garlic, onion, and carrots. Now, if you struggle with digesting vegetables, you may need to address your gut health first. Many people suffer from gut dysbiosis or leaky gut, but that doesn't mean that vegetables are the problem. Often, cutting out gluten and ultra-processed foods can help restore gut balance. If you're severely sensitive to veggies, try high-quality algae supplements like chlorella and spirulina while you work on healing your gut. They can provide similar health benefits to vegetables. If you deal with chronic constipation, you might benefit from a short course of zeolite. It can help to detoxify the gut and can make a huge difference. And if you're concerned about oxalates in vegetables, adding lemon to your daily routine can help. Lemons support oxalate detoxification and kidney health. Personally, I like to have a half an avocado with lemon juice daily. It's simple, nourishing, and effective. And don't forget healthy sweeteners like organic liquid stevia, monk fruit, or allulose. These are very healthy and won't spike your glucose or insulin. You can use erythritol or xylitol for rare occasions if you like to have some keto treats, but they can also cause digestive issues. And that's it. You're now equipped with everything you need to start the clean ketogenic diet correctly. So if you're looking for specific meal ideas, check out my 14-day clean keto meal plan. The link is below. I hope you found this guide helpful. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.